inviting all my devil's advocates to the Dudes at Ringside podcast, Friday, July 23rd at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where Metal Geek and Joe the Panther Jr. host yours truly, and we explore my dark thoughts. You won't want to miss it. See you then. Say no more.
Hello there, wrestling fans! Welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am your host, that funny, awesome Panther Jr. Joe. And now introducing that man, that myth, that legend going on that flight around the world with yours truly, the Happy Heel himself. The Metal Geek.
What's going on, Ringside Crew? What's going on, internationally known? What's going on, everyone? What's going on? What's going on with the text over there? It's kind of a blood red a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not Tamaku. It's not a deathmatch wrestler. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Hellman Rosecrown, the eminent threat.
Hey Joe, how's it going, Metal Geek? And how's the wrestling world at large? My name is Hellman Rosecrown, and thanks for that warm introduction of sorts.
No problem.
No problem, dude.
Welcome to the ringside area where the flags keep flapping and the wrestlers keep coming.
Yeah, I've noticed you guys have been busy. You booked steadily through at least September, maybe
2022 now.
2022, brother.
Well, that's what I meant. September 2022, of course.
It's like the old running joke, you know, the wrestlers line up on the line, and then the line keeps just getting longer and longer.
It reminds me of the DMV. That's what that sounds like.
It's like grab a ticket. It's like ding, ding. That's it.
Or traffic. I just got out of 4 hours of traffic just to get to Ocean Beach, which is we're at the location for Fist Combat right now. So there's a metal show going on. You can hear it. So I'm trying to stay away from all that noise if possible. So
yeah. I mean, New York's traffic is horrible. I can only imagine what LA traffic is like.
Hey, Riley Measures. Hey, there goes. There's a fellow wrestling brother from London, England, Riley Measures.
How's traffic out there? That's what I want to know, because I can't imagine anything being worse than New York. Traffic in New York just seems like gridlock all the time. I don't.
Oh, he's England. He's from London.
England. He's from England.
Right. So like they're driving on the other side of the road. So I don't know how their traffic is whatsoever. Feel free to chime in on that. But I gotta say it's pretty bad out here during certain times of the day. But
yeah.
Insane.
Hey, Thunderfeet, what's up?
That's another friend of ours, Mr. Thunderfeet.
Hell.
Oh, well, there you go. He did it right.
I see what you did there.
So, for the fans that are not familiar with you, would you want to introduce yourself?
Well, that would be the majority of fans out there. Well, my name is Hellman Rosecrown. I'm a recent addition to the Fist Combat roster here in Ocean Beach, California. I'm trained at a Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, which is based in Bell Gardens, Los Angeles, California. And it's the same training academy that trained Jake Atlas, if you're familiar with the NXT upstart. It's just a great atmosphere to be a part of the SoCal wrestling scene, especially now, post-pandemic. It's really flourishing, and it's just like a great opportunity for a young guy like me who's always, maybe I'm not as young as I look, but this has always been my dream since I was a little tight. So to do it now and to be a part of it, it's a dream come true, which is nuts for me to say, because just prior to all this, I didn't have a whole lot to live for. At least it felt that way.
By the way, you're from LA, right? Are you familiar with a tag team?
Yeah, born and raised.
Called Money, Power, Respect, or?
You say that again? Sorry, I'm having technical issues. But you said Money, Power, and Respect?
Yeah, they're a tag team.
Okay, I was just saying that sounds good to me. No, I'm not familiar with them. Are they from this area as well?
They're from California. I'm not sure where in California they're from, but they're from California as well.
Okay, he's still there. Yeah, they're from. I think they're from today. We got a bunch of friends in the chat. We got Marauder. We got our other friend. We got Papa Geek.
All right, but it's like traffic over here, by the way, is either quite dead or completely gridlocked. Seems to be no in between. So right there in the middle.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Everyone is like a beehive. They all have the same schedules, 9 to 5 or whatever it seems to be. For us, it's 3 o'clock. If you don't get on the road before 3, you're not getting off the road till like 7.
People are clamoring for any kind of excitement. It's good to see people out the indie wrestling shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had this outdoor show on. 619 is as you may know from Rey Mysterio's finishing maneuver, is the San Diego area code. So here in San Diego on June 19th, we had this live outdoor free event, which was very highly attended. And it wasn't by wrestling fans or wrestling enthusiasts. It was by local Ocean Beach residents, and it was packed. The police had to come to just corral the event, and it just shows, like you said, people of all walks of life are clamoring for live entertainment, and wrestling fits the bill for sure.
And what else comments we got?
I don't know if you saw this, Rosecrown. Me and Geek actually attended our first 2 wrestling shows together since WrestleMania 35 last weekend, actually.
That's awesome. Like, we're talking WWE, AEW, or something?
No, local.
Local indies, like.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did see you posting about that. So,
I was actually live last Monday. We went to the night show we went to was Victory Pro Wrestling. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
No, I'm saying I've heard, even if I had heard of them, my memory isn't the best. I'm working on that, especially when it comes to wrestling. Memory is a lot more crucial than I thought it was. I knew footwork and sequences and all this, but you really are a quarterback in there more than a lot of other things. You're an entertainer, you're an athlete, you're a team player, you're an individual solo contract, artist. But at the same time, you got to be able to change it on a dime on the fly based off of the crowd, because you don't have the benefit of cut or take 1, take 2. It's all one and done. So it's more than meets the eye, is all I'm going to say. I did see a comment from one of your friends talk to how did I get into wrestling, if I could address that, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's either a convoluted story or a simple one. The simple one is I've always wanted to do it and claimed that was going to be what I did when I turned 18. When it actually turned out, I was around 26 when I actually started training at Santino's. And I had looked into other schools, namely Knox Pro. And by the time I was going to pull the trigger, they weren't necessarily open. So I went with Santino's, which had got some shine on them recently from the WWE when Ronda Rousey trained there for her pro debut. She was already a professional athlete, but she got some wrestling polishing there under Brian Kendrick and other of their trainers at the school. So that's how I kind of came to really pay attention to that school in general. Whereas since then, they're nothing but top notch. All their guys, at least for the last 7 years, have won the local Rookie of the Year for Southern California. It's a streak that's still active, and with fingers crossed, I want to keep that streak alive if it comes to it, which kind of boils me down to the pandemic. I started in 2019. The pandemic shut my training down in March of 2020, and I was able to resume it maybe 4 months ago here at Ocean Beach. So now I'm debuted in the year 2021, whereas prior I wasn't sure if I'd be this year, next year, or who knows what. And it's definitely altered the alumni status of Santino's, with people having moved out of state or resumed training elsewhere. So I feel extra pressure to keep that streak alive.
There's a lady coming out.
Who's your favorite wrestler, you'd say?
My personal favorite wrestler, and it's been that way since 2003, was Randy Orton. And it is Randy Orton. in all of his different incarnations. As far as, are you coming to the private party? Are you here to attend the private party?
What private party?
We have a private event. Are you here to? If not, we have to keep the alley clear.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So the private event is
It's like a birthday party for
Birthday
one of
party?
our band musicians.
okay. So just do me a favor, shut the door.
Yeah, because there's a
otherwise
window.
Mike and them are gonna get really in trouble.
So we gotta keep the door. What
Yeah.
about the window?
For the private party.
What about
Geek.
the
Yeah.
We,
Private part.
we here, we got microphones, so over the media.
Are they? Is the tag team private party there?
Just make
Noise
sure
sound.
What's that?
Is the tag team private party there?
Yeah.
I guess so, right?
I guess we're part of the media now. We got invited with the passes, right? We have passes.
Okay.
Mara says his brain is shot
Thank you.
too.
Well, I'll keep
Yeah.
it closed. Right
I know why, Marauder. Smoke it, drink it, do and do.
Sorry about that, guys. I'll be right back with you. On that note, Randy Orton's greatest of all time.
Like I hear the music, so I'm saying we're jamming. We're jamming.
Randy Orton was right there. His favorite
Look at
wrestler.
that Marauder, like that sky, man. Look at that sky, man.
He loves the sky.
Look at that sky, man. Marauder's like, Marauder, what kind of animals can you see in there? Quickly, quick. Some good music, Marauder.
Yeah. You have 10 minutes to see what animals are in there.
What animals do you see there?
I see a goat. I see a Power Ranger.
I see like a monkey face, like a gorilla face.
I see a ghost. Like a ghost.
I see like a ghost or like a
Maybe
gorilla
like a
face.
skull face like this. Kinda.
Dang it, you missed it. Whoa, we're getting shoved.
Mariah agrees with me. The ghost.
Looks like we're getting tossed out of the club. We're like, whoa.
Yes. Yes.
It does look like a ghost. That sky.
What is that?
It's a ghost. It's a ghost.
Ooh, what are we looking at, Geek?
It's a ghost.
It's like
He poops in and out. It's the ghost. It's like it looks like the ghost from Mario Brothers.
Well, no, it's actually Asian bands. And they have previously booked us and all that. But it's all.
Yep, they keep on loving us right now. 8 viewers.
Nobody looking at the camera. Ooh. Looking at the camera.
Joe, you're gonna get us in trouble, man.
Why? Don't look into the camera. You're gonna get dizzy. I'm getting dizzy looking at the camera. We're gonna get in trouble Wednesday. I take off my glasses. My eyes get really small.
You see Shy Guy.
Oh.
Spiffy sees angry cat.
So doors closed and.
You can't have Marauder meet ever so spiffy because you'll come back and be like, God, I'm so high right now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm so sorry about all that, guys.
That's
It's
cool,
okay.
dude.
We've been seeing all this stuff in the sky. Like we're like, what kind of shapes are in the sky right now? When you're moving the camera up in the sky, we're like,
We're saying one. It looks like a ghost. I told him it's like you see a kind of.
So just between you and me, that's actually the vice police, the vice cop. So you know, I'm dealing with some serious shit over here. Oops, bleep that out. There's one back. As we were saying, back to wrestling related matters, because there's a plethora of them. And I love talking wrestling.
So you said Randy Orton was your favorite wrestler.
How could it not be? You tell me who your favorite is, but it was Rob Van Dam, and they had a feud in 2003, and he was young and he was just cocky and just he's changed himself up over the years, but not dramatically, and I think he's been great. You know, he's had his higher moments, but a lot of that's creative, how they decide to use people, and he's a constant. He's always been the highest of caliber, if you will.
Another one is how long you been wrestling for?
So that one would be, what do you consider? When I wrestled in high school? No. It doesn't count. It's a different form of wrestling.
It's like been training.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Training since September of 2019 with an extended break from March of 2020 till about, let's say, March of 2021. So it's about a year. That's crazy. With that also being said, is I've been wrestling, actively resumed training and working shows steadily since, I guess, March of 2021. If I can count. I don't know. I'm not good at that.
How would you describe your wrestling style?
So ideally, how would I, like if I was to create a character, it might be a little bit different than how I've been functioning. Seeing as I'm not the largest guy, I'm not 6+, 200 plus. The industry has changed. That's not like a prerequisite as it used to be. I still don't want to be a high-flying guy, whether or not I can do those maneuvers. However, I've had to incorporate a few more cross bodies and moonsault maneuvers just to keep things more realistic. If I'm facing guys who are higher, bigger, and I am very athletic. So for me, it's realistic, mat-based style with sporadic high flying and some striking. I do like to keep it very mat-based. I'm trying to blend, if I can, Rob Van Dam, Randy Orton, and Triple H. So knee strikes, chin locks, and simple maneuvers, but with the occasional rolls and flips here and there, some kicks. So I don't know. You tell me. Hybrid might be played out, you know?
So one of the fans asked, would you ever turn down a spot in a match?
So at this point, I have yet to turn down anything, although, yeah, there are some lines that everyone should have that they don't want to cross. Blading is one where even though I've been taught how to blade, I want to learn how to blade properly since you're never supposed to let someone blade you. At least this is how I've been taught. You always blade yourself. But if you're in there with someone who knows how to blade and you don't, you'd probably defer to them. Although that's where blading is kind of a line for me. Along the same line of deathmatch wrestling, growing up in the hardcore Attitude Era period, I loved watching it. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but especially hardcore over extreme. Extreme was a little bit too far, or hardcore was, it was used as a topping, not the main ingredient of the meal, of the product. So deathmatch wrestling right now is something I'm not necessarily trying to do because it's a niche. Much like lucha, it's a niche. Those are things that I'm trying to just give classic American style, if that makes any sense. So there's no spot really that's off limits. I don't know. Maybe like a Joey Ryan spot, if I'm allowed to say something like that. There might be some line.
Man, Joey Ryan, no thanks, man.
Yeah, I opened a can of worms on that one.
But no, I saw some of your matches, some of your work on your YouTube channel. You're kind of like a Shawn Michaels in a way.
I got the dollar store Shawn Michaels before. I've been called the dollar store Shawn Michaels.
I think you mentioned that on Lance and Geek's birthday party before the party. I think you mentioned that.
Because I was watching some of your matches, you were kind of like you had the pants from Shawn Michaels and everything. So I was like, wow,
Well, young Shawn Michaels is a very attractive guy. So, I mean, I would like to be compared to someone of that nature. And he's one of the greatest workers of all time. I try to steer away from super kicks due to their abundance, especially in the indies and just on a major platform. They're no longer a finisher. It's just a transitional move. Although I've been told familiarity, people like that. So I've been asked to been called, throw a super kick. Whereas generally I don't like to throw it, but I've gotten accustomed to it. It's like a moonsault or a crossbody. It's in my repertoire. I throw a good one, but it's not it's something I don't want to do because it's.
You do throw a good. I saw your matches. Those super kicks are not bad, by the way.
Well, thank you. Before you ever start wrestling, you already mess around with moves like with your friends. The super kick was always one of mine. But once I started kind of getting closer and training, it started getting further and further out of my comfort zone because it was like, man, if I just do a super kick, I'm just another guy. Same with forearms. I throw forearms now, but I try not to. I want to throw punches because they're less prevalent in the indies, especially.
So, who were your big inspirations as a kid? That made you want to become a wrestler?
Well, maybe to become one was more Crash Holly than Stone Cold because Crash Holly was the guy around my size. And looking back, he's actually way bigger than I am. Like, he's yoked. But Stone Cold was the guy when I was growing up and getting into wrestling. So if it wasn't for Stone Cold, I don't know how much of wrestling I would have been privy to at a very young age.
Interesting.
But then, yeah, Randy Orton, it pretty much went from Stone Cold being my favorite. And I was never a guy who hated anyone. I liked them all. Pieces. I liked, if you could bleep it, I guess I won't even say the word, F finish, as they call it. So, like, screwy finishes where heels would win. And I never got mad. I always enjoyed, I always felt like, oh, man, they got me again. Like, I really enjoyed just being a fan of everybody. But I did have my favorites, which was Stone Cold and Rob Van Dam and Randy Orton. It's been consistent. You know, there's always number 2s or 3s that pop up, but once you kind of get a favorite, it's hard to, especially when they've been in the game for 20 years. It's not like you went anywhere.
If a kid looked up to you and they said they want to be a wrestler, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
I would say don't, persistence furthers, truly. So if you think, because I did, that like I screwed up and I didn't go to college and I didn't pursue amateur wrestling to its furthest extent, and I started working a dead-end job, and I just I felt like my whole life passed me by already, and I was too old to even start wrestling or all that stuff. So the whole thing is, the last guy in the room is immediately the best guy or girl. So the sooner you start doing something of athletic nature, I'm big into athletics. I'm talking like team sports or even amateur wrestling. But also I did theater too and film production. So I think as long as you express yourself and you truly feel like you're completing your Maslow's triangle of needs, you got your home, you got your shelter, but you also have other important issues that if you don't explore, you're not a well-rounded individual. I've been there, still there, but working on it.
What would you say your favorite entrance theme of all time is?
There's a lot of good ones. You just put me on the spot. Oh man, I'm not the most musically inclined guy because some people are really good with that. But oh man, some themes hit. I'm gonna go with Too Cool for now because it's not the greatest in any way. But when you hear that Too Cool theme, like you just man, it brings you back to my childhood.
I think my
The
favorite
first
was
one, not the second
my favorite was always the Disturbed Stone Cold song.
one. Really, it was an okay song, but not iconic in any way.
That and I think Triple H's Time to Play the Game is always my favorite.
I used to get really pissed when I hear that. I'm like, I get pumped, but pissed like, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I played passed over. Which Triple H theme? He's got many.
No, time to Play the Game, the Motorhead theme, the first one,
okay.
the original.
Well, that would
Motorhead.
be the first one. I like My Time. Like if you go back and listen to My Time.
No, I mean like the original Motorhead, the original Motorhead theme.
Well, of course, that one was great, and that's probably his most well-known theme. He also has that other Motorhead theme, which is like his alternative, like "Bow Down to the King" or "King of Kings" or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Evolution.
the original, yeah.
Evolution's a great theme.
Yeah, Triple H just had bangers every theme song, and he's had at least 5, but like maybe not the first one, the McMahon Helmsley bit.
Didn't he have it one by Drowning Pool too, which was awesome?
So possible, man. Around that time period, all the bands, like the new metal bands, were making. It coincided with one of their CDs that they released.
Yeah. That's when you had to get the CD instead of downloading them off the internet.
You mean when they had CDs? Do they still
exactly.
have CDs?
I don't think they do. I personally don't think they do.
There's one Blockbuster left in existence, so
Actually, it's not around anymore.
No,
I
I thought it was still around, but like as an Airbnb.
It's an Airbnb now. Yeah, that's what it is. It's you could rent it or something like that. So Blockbuster became, you rent a movie, now you can rent out Blockbuster for the night.
Oh my god! Imagine if
the show.
I got so many late fees from them. So imagine if you like had like hundreds of thousands of dollars of late fees, and then like you rent out the Airbnb, and it's like you flip the table on them or something. I don't know, man. That's so hard. It's hard to think because Blockbuster was a different time. Like 10 technology was different, but that was Friday nights for you sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That was your Netflix.
You need to rent out the Blockbuster for the night. Do Dudes at Ringside podcast live from Blockbuster.
Oh my God, that's such a good idea. You should really do that, bro.
That would be amazing.
We'll do a live podcast from the Airbnb right there.
We sit there and
Yeah.
like, we're live here in Blockbuster.
You should do
Laugh.
some different locations, like maybe go to an event, like SummerSlam or something, whatever. Maybe do an on-site edition, special edition at some point. I think that would be really cool.
We're working on that actually. That's a work
Yeah,
in progress right
Trying
now.
to do stuff like that because
Yeah,
like
that's actually
we were gonna do the show live with the NYWC, the one we went to the first show, but we got told at the door. They said, "No, no funny business, no videotaping, and live video now."
Because nowadays, especially with the
Oh my
internet,
God, Mr.
media,
Steal Your Dibs is here.
It's to steal your dibs.
What's going on?
I find myself in a similar position when I wrestle an event, and then I get the media, like footage, clips, or pictures, and then there's like certain process or procedure to follow where if you post it, theoretically, you're posting spoilers, So that's probably something along that nature. If you recorded something, you never know what you're revealing, breaking kayfabe and whatever, behind the curtains stuff.
But like, it made us feel so good that like this group that we used to sit and get in Geek car, pile in Geek car, myself, Geek, of course he was driving, and Thunder Feet all would pile in the Geek car and go see a wrestling show every Saturday night.
Well, not every Saturday.
Every other Saturday night.
Once a month.
Once a
And
month.
twice
I
on
feel
Sunday.
like every other month we were going there.
Yeah.
And we would go there, and now they welcomed us to Open Door. At the end of the show, the wrestlers were hugging us like, "Guys, what do you think of the show, man? What do you think, brother?" We're like,
I've had
It's unreal. It's unreal.
I've had similar experience with like guys I've looked up to for a while because I've been training underneath them. They've been pro since I began training, like 10 years or more. And now, like, I'm one of the boys in the locker room. It's not like I'm buddying up to anyone in particular, but to get a different rapport from guys that not too long ago, in a sense, they didn't know my name. Now they know me as Hellman, or they know who I am, first name basis, and all that. It's just really cool.
That's awesome,
and it's hilarious because like they said no videotaping. And I said it's the Geek. So the wrestlers went at us kayfabe style, like the character. And it was like, I'm like, Geek, that they said go mess around with the dudes at ringside. They're right there, mess around with them ringside.
And they did.
It had to happen. And I was like, we're gonna get messed around with.
You were officially at ringside, so that's dope.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's funny because
the running joke of the show was dudes at ringside, not dudes in the nosebleed, because that's probably what we would have been.
Yeah.
Well, you got to speak it into existence, so that's what you did.
And it's funny because the joke of the whole show was the word that you kept saying.
What?
Joe, no funny business. That's what the promoter told us. No funny business, no videos. So no funny business.
Pick a seat.
Pick a seat. And I'm like, what do you want to sit? He's like, ringside. Are you kidding me? We ran like two little kids running to this toy section in the WWF.
We got front row. There we go. All right.
We ran so fast to those seats, like little kid running to the WWF section in the 90s in Toys R Us. We were like,
I know exactly. That was my life. I had so many figure collections. I've sold them, and then I had other games I'd play in the yard with like family members and friends called castle games. We take all these toys, and they were all medieval. We had castles and different extensive histories. So at one point, I donated all my action figures or wrestling figures to be my barbarian horde. And later, I had to rebuild my collection again from scratch multiple times. One time, I sold them all for like pennies on the dollar, literally to this woman who was buying them for her son. So like I sold a whole bin of them for $1. because I literally just met GDP 30 seconds ago because he pulled up at the red light. When oddly, I looked at the windshield and I thought, that person looks like DDP. Whatever. And then, like, 2 seconds later, I hear from behind me, hey, kid. I turn around. He says, you probably got one of me in there. And I looked at him. I was like, DDP? Climbing down the stage? And I walked up because it was at a red light. His window was down. Gave him a high five or what's called a dats. I datsed him up. And then I was just like, holy crap. You know, I was wearing a John Cena shirt that day, and I wasn't even that big of a fan of him in 2006. But, yeah, it was just so I was feeling good. So wrestling figures, man, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, man.
It sounds like someone's fast forward VHS in the background.
Oh, that could be the local wildlife, bro. I got some crazy parrots over here.
Parrots? That's so cool. Put your arm up. Parrot just lands on your arm.
I saw like a macaw driving on the freeway today. He wasn't driving, but he was in the passenger seat. Like somebody brought their pet. Yeah, like a full on. Like these are little green parrots. Look, you know, they're not that spectacular. But this other bird was like fully multicolored and just chilling in the passenger seat on the freeway.
That's funny, Marauder. That sounds like somebody's rewinding his VHS tape.
Hey, I'm not on drugs. That means I was not on drugs at the time.
What is he talking about, man?
He's like, wait. He's like, there was a macaw driving their car. What?
Maybe that's why I got pulled over. It's all making sense.
So yeah, me and Geek ever take a trip to Cali, we definitely have to come hang out up there with you guys.
Or down here. I'm a SoCal guy, but heck yeah, wherever.
Yeah,
man.
Probably for WrestleMania.
We could do a show live from the school.
Yep, shameless plug moment. Every Saturday in Ocean Beach, San Diego, California, Fist Combat puts on live wrestling. It's about $20 pre-sale, $25 at the door. And it's every Saturday. So if you ever feel like, you know, getting some beach vibes and having a nice night out, come out to Fist Combat. And
there's a couple of wrestlers.
I'm just saying invitations for you guys. Sorry, bro.
All right.
We're off. We're like those two guys on the sidewalk. Go back and forth.
That'd be cool. I've never been to California. My sister went on a trip to go just to Cali, and I'm like, Geek, now we have to travel to do this show. So I guess one of the trips we have to go to SoCal. We have to go to SoCal.
We actually know a couple of wrestlers from California. Are you familiar with Charisma?
No, but I will say this: it's a big state. It's you know, it runs most of the coastline, and it's almost like different states. You know, NorCal, SoCal. So that's why I say I'm a SoCal guy because I'm LA, and now I'm venturing down south to San Diego, but. Cali it is. Come by Cali, say hi. Drop by his Santino show. Drop by this show.
You and Mariah could be good friends.
Yeah, I mean, you know a lot of wrestlers, so you could have a little tour, you know? So.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Geek, we'll have a little party at the beach. Like, he could bring all the fun food. Like, what is your favorite food, Rosecrown?
Damn. I mean, I don't want to say hamburger, like steak or something, because that would make me sound basic, but
hamburgers are awesome.
Yeah, I'm basic. Like, I like good food, but like, to be real, food is not my friend. I like it. I'm not like someone who indulges or someone who cooks. Necessity for me. I look at it like, God darn it, I gotta eat again, and you know what I mean. Hey, Cali's not for everybody, so you know, more for me. And there's too many people here already. Why don't you tell them to move out?
Dude, that's what it would be if we did the. Oh God, I can see like us doing on the back porch.
Dudes at poolside. I mean, you can go anywhere with this.
Dudes at beachside.
There you go, poolside.
But yeah, our shows are.
If I do come to your school, you have to teach me a few spots.
Well, so here's the thing. I have access to the ring here at Ocean Beach. Generally speaking, you know, there's a certain code of conduct and outsiders, if you will, who aren't trained. If you're not paying your dues actively as a part of a school, you know, I'm not the guy to be giving anybody instructions either. Look how green I am. I haven't even brewed my first cup of coffee in the business. So I could show people some basics, but at the same time, I wouldn't feel comfortable unless, you know, I had maybe the approval of someone else who's been in the business longer. because this business is all about tenure. You may be good at one thing or another, but truth be told, you only know nothing, and you only learn how little you know the more and more you learn. And I know I butchered that quote, but as far as wrestling is concerned, it's more than just the physicality. It's
There's
so
another.
much.
There's also another wrestler we had from San Diego. I don't know if it's San Diego. I think the Thunder Wonder. Are you familiar with him or?
No, I'm not. I was never the most familiar with the indie scene. However, now I'm probably more familiar with the indie scene than I am what's going on in the mainstream. But no, I have not seen his work.
Indies are king right now. They're
He
killing it.
looks like something out of the movie The Warriors.
The Warriors. He has like a star on his eye.
Lightning bolt. He has a lightning bolt over his eye.
You know, all that sounds really like I probably am following him on Instagram. And I'm gonna have to like eat my words. But
You should look him up. You should definitely look him up and be like, "Yo,
He's
we should
so
do
cool. He has that look of a 1980s like
movie."
right.
movie.
And that we don't have a whole lot of that in wrestling anymore. You know, it comes in periods and waves, and I feel like that wave is back. The whole late '80s, early '90s characters, like people want something to. The ambiguousness is kind of played out now, which is terrible because people don't know if I'm a good guy, bad guy. Neither do I. I mean,
Yeah.
Are you currently wrestling now or?
tomorrow I wrestle tomorrow and Sunday, in Ocean
Alright.
Beach and then Hemet. So I got bookings all throughout the month.
I wasn't sure if you were injured or you were working. I don't know if anything was open in California. That's all I was asking.
Well, it's done by county to county basis. So when I'm here in San Diego, I'm like, oh, I forgot my mask. And then I look in the store and no one's wearing a mask. I'm like, oh, but I'm fully vaccinated. I didn't start leaving the house until those precautions were available. Not necessarily on a personal level, but due to family I lived with, so circumstance. But so I took every precaution prior to me resuming training and actively working in front of crowds. So for me, I'm in a tough position because my career just started and I wasn't necessarily expecting it to. So it's like if we shut down again, I might just have to go where I can go because my school just opened back up in LA. I train at two different facilities, so in San Diego and at Los Angeles.
The Vax gang.
Right? Waxed and
Well,
vaxxed.
he has.
I'm a
Lord
little
always has
Italian
the
boy here.
comment.
I can't. I'll be like.
If you were shot into space by mad scientists to watch terrible movies with robot friends, who would be the first film you'd watch them with? Sounds something like Mystery Science Theater.
I think that is the premise. That's totally the premise.
I think he would watch it with these dudes. I think he would watch it with us. Like
That's
the
exactly what I
movies.
was about to say. You guys would be like the perfect substitutes for those robots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and Joe would be like the robots, pretty much, right?
I just twisted my
Totally. I mean, maybe he's trying to revamp the show premise so where you guys should come dressed as robots now. That's your gimmick. You're the Metal Geek and Joe Panther Jr., but like somehow you're like cyborgs and your guests.
Jeez. Like I don't know. Like I could picture them making me a puppet. They make me like half a panther with like red glasses on, like a cat. Just put red
You'd make
glasses.
a great puppet. I could see you as like a Crank Yankers puppet. You'd be a
Oh
great
yeah,
puppet.
with a hat, a cat with a hat on.
I guess we should label this one the Robot Pizza Podcast.
Not yet. This is the brainstorming. We've just been coming up with ideas of how to like change your business model.
Yeah, we're different pizzas. We always have a different pizza every show.
Every pizza. Every show, somebody has a pizza, and I'm like, when these people come to New York Geek, we're gonna have to rent over 100 tour buses with just wrestlers going around to the city with us.
It's the Robot Pizza Podcast, Joe.
Yeah.
The Robotic Pizza Podcast.
What kind of pizza do you like?
Hey, if it wasn't for you, man, I don't know what I'd do. I know. Have you seen the show Superstore?
Yeah,
She looks like
yeah.
Right? Hey, sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Dudes at Robot Pizza Podcast. There you go.
Yep.
That's one food I will say I'm not the biggest fan of pizza, but when it's good, it's good. And I'm more of a thin crust. I'm a New York style thin crust guy, but I do it Yeah, I'm not the Chicago style. I don't like it. If folding and like New York style is good, but I kind of like it when it's crispy. Not like
Oh
thin
yeah,
crust,
oh,
but like
well
you know
done,
what I
like Brooklyn style, like my dad says,
What's
Marauder,
it?
right?
Sicilian or something. Who knows? It's good though.
Yeah, my dad always says. My dad has like a certain thing. He always says Brooklyn style.
WWE Superstore? No.
Geek,
Sorry,
you're an ass.
The
what is that? That website where you buy all that merch?
WWE merch, right? This- that's the the Superstore is what they
Wrestling
opened before
Superstore.
for WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. I remember the wrestling superstore, which is where I buy like off-brand wrestling figure. I looked at them these days. Like you could buy barricades and announce tables. And if I was a kid, man, still, or if I still bought that stuff, I'd be so broke.
Yeah, it's like hard because you can get all those toys these days, but then you got to find the right location to get the right kind. Like there's a lot of websites they'll say we're gonna sell you a Mean Gene Okerlund toy, and you don't know where that toy came from. It could be come from either a kid's basement collection or somewhere you don't want to talk about. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I do, but it depends on what you're intending on using it for. I was never a collector as far as I put them in. I played with them. I had storylines. I had logos and years worth of like win-loss records. So I would build accessories and stuff. So as far as nowadays, there's a lot of places you can find accessories. What's crazy is a lot of things they're implementing now, multiple head scans and hand models and interchangeable parts. I was doing myself by going to the store, opening up the toys. Actually, I'd buy them first, and then I'd swap out the parts and return them. I was a bad, bad person. But
There's
Oh
people that
man.
watch on YouTube on Instagram that do that.
I
Yeah.
know I don't. I was at first, though. I swear, I didn't learn about it from. Oh, well, this is a good idea because trending. I was before the curve. I might have been one of the first people doing it, and it was not good. Shady business.
It was like this guy. He just got I think a new X-Pac toy, and he changed the head to the new head, took the head off the new figure, and just put the other head on the body. He put like hot water and the head popped off, and they put the other head on the body. I was just like,
It's so tragic, especially if a little. Now looking back, because I was a kid when I was doing it, but looking back, like especially if it's adults doing it, and imagine you being that kid, because I was that kid, and then you go and get the toy, and then it's just not right or broken. Like I feel bad, but a lot of people who collect toys aren't even kids anymore because they're so
yeah,
expensive. They're like $20.
Yeah.
they're expensive for toys. It's ridiculous. It's like, what? What?
I
It's
got
like,
out while it was so good.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get in the attic because I have some wrestlers in like tins, the WWF like still figures. I have some of them up there. I don't know if they're good, but I know they're in the attic
But
somewhere.
see, those are nostalgic. I was really into the articulation, and it's much like video games. If I saw on Netflix they had a special on the toys that made us or something, and
Oh, I used to love that show.
right, and they
That
did one on
that
wrestling figures.
Really?
Yeah, it's very interesting if you want to check it out. But I just think we lived through the same time period of when those toys were evolving. So were video games. Remember video games in the early and mid '90s? Then look at
yeah.
them just in the early mid 2000s to now, like or what even
They look
10.
amazing. Now they look amazing. Like
Yeah,
they
but
look
the
so
gameplay
real.
sucks.
The gameplay sucks, but I'm saying like everything looks so lifelike. It looks
Oh
like
yeah,
it's like the skin and everything. It's like the detail that they go on. It's like ridiculous.
I think it's weird when one year they have like a character model down, and the next year there's just they alter it. Like I've seen Booker T in certain years look really good, and the next year look not so good. It's like I don't understand how the development process is. That's a totally another
That's why
topic for
I
another.
protest. I didn't even buy 2K20 and all these wrestlers we've had on the podcast. I'm like, oh, is your guy? I always say, has anybody created you? And everybody's like, oh yeah. I'm like, which game? And they're like, oh, 2K20. And I'm like, I get
Yeah,
so mad because they're not in
yeah, it's kind of
2K20.
crazy.
They
How
get
many
it.
have you seen the meme that shows you all the roster that's not in the WWE anymore from the last game?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that recently. Like it's like half the people got fired, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It's
Hey, but
sad
even
though.
so, as far as AEW goes, I've heard the rumors and the rumblings about Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. Now that's something that might catch my attention for sure. I would tune in for that.
Daniel Bryan, you don't mean Daniel Bryan, you mean Bryan Danielson.
Bryan Danielson, excuse me. Well, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to that name. I did like that name. I thought that was clever.
Because Bryan Danielson, he was awesome on the Indies. I don't know if you ever got the chance to watch him on the Indies.
No, she was being cool, but
No, yeah, she said she was working with us. We moved the speakers, so she said it sounds better. So
thanks, man. There's only so much I can do out here.
Yeah, because you don't really know what's up either.
Nah,
You don't know any.
I don't know jack shit, no.
But yeah, Bryan Danielson was awesome on the Indies. I don't know if you got the chance to actually watch him on the Indies.
No. See, that was around the time period I did not watch the Indies, but I was very aware of PWG and guys like Roderick Strong and Bryan Danielson, but I wasn't watching their products. You know, I wasn't. Maybe I was a doubter to certain extents, but at the same time, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk opened the door in the WWE for Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan blew the door open for guys my stature, guys of my style.
Like Adam Cole.
Oh yeah, he would never have had a chance if it wasn't for Daniel Bryan's run in the WWE.
Never.
Same with Roderick Strong. Same with basically the NXT in general is the baby of Daniel Bryan's initial NXT run. You know, when they tried to make a joke out of him and all that.
Yeah. And I always knew he was awesome because I usually watched him in the Indies, and people like, you just watch. I mean, even his best match in WWE doesn't compare to his stuff on the Indies.
Which can be said a lot of things. One, his age, and due to his style, all like you saw with his concussions and his injuries, the toll it took on his body. As you get older, you learn to work smarter, not harder. Yeah. He had more creative liberty on the Indies. He had more to prove on the Indies. There's a lot to it, but you know, at the same time, who's to say? I'm not Meltzer. I enjoyed his WWE run, so. I don't think necessarily. Do you think his indie work had the same gravitas though, when it comes to promos and just because he had a good career? Now you make me want to watch his whole run in the indies, but
and you have to. I have to. Yeah. I think his match with Austin Aries is a classic. His match with Nigel was a classic.
ROH.
ROH stuff.
ROH is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's where it gets muddy in the indies. I'm impressed by people who follow it so religiously because there's so many different organizations, and essentially every time you're in another company, you have to essentially be a lump of clay and be what they want you to be. Whereas at the same time, we also are the arbiters or whatever of our own brand, and so we have to. It's a balance. I'm trying to be whatever they want me to be, but at the same time, you can't deviate too far from your true nature. You know,
100%.
Definitely.
There's our friends, the parents.
Yeah, they're back again. Hashtag birds on the ringside.
Birds at ringside. Pizza party.
No, just birds at ringside. It's like and they're little green birds, so we're trying to get them to get away from our seats. No.
This is my seat. This is my seat.
The geeks are pecking us. Birds are pecking us.
Ow.
Joe, you wanted to sit ringside so bad.
I do like to call my we've already gone over the imminent threat, Hellman Rosecrown, which is a very existential character. He's always thinking about death and destruction and just finality. There's the other side, which is the fiend, if you will, Finn Balor demon side, where I wear a lucha mask, and I call myself the War Devil. I actually have two monikers that I like to go under, called the Phoenix Vulture, because it's like a flaming, I've never heard of a Phoenix Vulture, but just to think of the two birds, like a bird of death, but that's also like the rises from the ashes. I got that name because my trainer before the pandemic went down was Robbie Phoenix. If you're familiar or not familiar with his work, he's here on the West Coast. Robbie Phoenix, and then the Phoenix Vulture War Devil, aka the Scavenger of Chaos, because my other trainer is Joey Chaos from XPW.
I've heard of Joey Chaos.
Yeah. Well, his name is becoming a little bit more tossed around as far as because he's been training a lot of talent that's up and coming throughout the AEW. I don't know if you ever Heather Monroe. She's one of our standouts. She also is a trainer. Eli Everfly.
I heard of
They,
Eli Everfly.
if you look at any card in SoCal, you're bound to bump into 5 Santino's guys on the card. So at
Definitely
any
drop
given,
a name to some of your people that are in your training facility. We'd be happy to interview them, even though they haven't really done anything. Even
well,
get the role you said.
there are people all throughout that have done a whole lot. I got an opportunity to hang out with Paul London about a month ago. And he was
Wow.
really cool guy. He gave me his phone number. Like, I hadn't really texted him since. It's not like I'm trying to fanboy him, but like he's 100% real. Like, he goes, no phone in
I
this.
feel like his career in WWE could have been what Adam Cole's career was.
That's
If they-
interesting. People
they
have
had-
said he was 10 years before his time.
He was amazing, by the way, in the independent scene. But
Right. And he even went back to the indie scene. But as far as his WWE run, think of the way he competed and think of how, like you said, Adam Cole's or people in the NXT, guys who are reaching man of status now compete. He was paving the way for that style. He just was wrestling guys 6'6", 300 pounds on a nightly basis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, his matches in WWE, some of his matches in WWE were actually pretty good too. His matches at Spanky were pretty good too.
Well, that was Brian Kendrick. Hopefully, I didn't mix the two up. I don't generally mix them up. But no, Spanky was Brian Kendrick, who did have affiliations with Santino Brothers in Bell Gardens. But I'm saying Paul London came for a seminar and actually worked a fist event here on that 619 show. So he was a really cool guy.
Have you ever been to a PWG show or?
No, I have not been. They're like the mecca of the indies to an extent over here, but no, I haven't. I've been to a PCW show, which is pretty freaking.
Yeah.
I worked it, not like as a talent, but as a ring crew at ringside, and it was great.
Yeah.
Inside crew.
Yeah, PWG I heard is ridiculous to get tickets for. It's like the minute they go on sale, it's like up, they're gone already. It's like that South Park. It's
South Park, and they're gone.
And they're gone. Like within 3 seconds.
I've heard the same thing, but I've known people who've gone. I don't know how. You gotta really be in the know. It's like a not like little circle. So
yeah, it's a little circle.
I tried to get the pasta pass. Have you tried to get the Olive Garden pasta pass before?
I think so. Well, yeah, I think it was like a free pasta or something like that, and it was gone.
Oh my God. Yeah, within seconds. For years in a row, I've sat there with 2 phones open and tried to get the pasta pass, and I've gotten it each time, but it's a hassle. Like I've had multiple phones. Get the pasta pass next time you can. I promise you.
It's what's worse to try to get the PWG tickets or the pasta pass from Olive Garden?
Well, what's gonna sustain you more? I'd rather take endless pasta.
Here we go. Let's ask this question for the Mod Queen's head pops, and she's yelling at Geek at 2:00 in the morning. Do you have any pets?
I wouldn't be the biggest proponent of Olive Garden, but that pass though, you could just spend hours there. I would buy like a couple hard ciders, actually like hard cider, Angry Orchard. I buy a few hard ciders and just go to town with that salad and I just take the pasta home.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but Olive Garden is not real Italian food.
It's not. It's not.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack from the comments. A lot of people
gonna lose followers. Oh God.
Well, you got to get those carbs in though. Carbs are like where it's at. Everyone tries to avoid carbs, but honestly,
I mean, Olive Garden, I guess, is good if you don't live in New York and say, yeah, this is real Italian food. You go to New York, there's a pizza and pasta place on every single corner.
Yeah,
I'd say Buca de Peppos is more authentic than
Mr. Steely Dibs is like he thought it was Italian food.
I mean, yeah,
really
it's like that cheese sauce that you buy and they can't call it cheese; they call it something else. Legally, they can't call it Italian.
She hates
it's like
me right
Italian
now,
inspired.
but she can't spell it. She says you're banned. You're banned. Oh, you're banned. I guess she
banned.
Actually,
she
if you
can't
ever pull
ban me. I could ban you, but she can't ban me though.
Hey, check it out though. If you pull up an Olive Garden commercial, and I don't know why we're talking about Olive Garden for so long, putting them over so hard.
I'm gonna get a sponsor by them.
I'm gonna get
Please.
spot.
I can't wait. I'm trying so hard. I think it says Italian inspired cuisine, so they don't even call it Italian food.
So
We settled the
Miss-
debate. Yeah.
Mr. Dibs, if we get a sponsor from them, I swear, we'll send you a little plate of spaghetti and meatballs up to New Orleans.
The meat
We'll
sauce. It's the meat sauce mafia right there.
Yeah, yeah, Virgil. You heard him. He's like talking crap about Virgil. We don't want Virgil on this podcast. We got some good guests. We don't need a Virgil.
It's like, yeah, we don't need Virgil on the podcast. We got Hellman
Yes.
Rosecrown.
Oh yeah. So Virgil's gonna, because Virgil, from what I understand, he gets around. He's active, so he's gonna come knocking at my door because of this. You know.
Okay, how'd you get on dudes at ringside? That's what he's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
ask.
Hey, you're right about it, man. Oh man, I don't know him, so I
For
can't say it.
me.
It's like these guys need to invite me on their show.
Because he actually messaged my Instagram and called me Joey.
Really?
He called me, hey Joey, buy my game. And I was like, if I buy your game, would you go on my podcast? He's like, sure. I clicked the link. The guy wants $6.99 for his game. Or $1.99, whatever it was. I was like,
Is
man,
he like are we still talking about Virgil or no?
yeah, Virgil, yeah.
What is he, a game developer now? I'm like,
You got a game, but what is it? Pasta?
support the arts. Pasta.
Yeah.
I
Pasta,
think
yeah.
Our wires are crossed. Somehow we went from Olive Garden to Virgil, and they're all pasta related.
Yeah.
It's like unlimited breadsticks, bro. Olive Garden is over as fuck.
It better be by the time we're done with this podcast. But I was about to say your Italian card might be revoked soon. But
It's like
the
the only reason why we lose the sponsorship to Olive Garden is because Geek was talking bad about Olive Garden.
We're gonna try to go there when I come to your house, Geek, and it's just gonna be like, oh, Joe Panther? Yeah, how do you know? Those glasses. Damn it, I'm really wearing them. And then look at Geek. Metal Geek, right? Security, get these motherfuckers out of here.
And the mod's the only Italian who loves Olive Garden, by the way.
Geeks, they're gonna be like, oh, you're mod queen. Yes, I'm the mod. Yeah, it too. God damn it, Lance, you bastard.
We're banned from Olive Garden. We're blackballed from Olive Garden.
Mod's crying, stomping her feet up and down. I want to eat my food.
Mariah's like, I love that he tried to charge Brooke Hogan for our picture.
That was phenomenal.
just told me to close the door, close the window, all that type of shit. Everything she told you,
Okay, yeah,
the permits.
yeah,
she's on our side.
like, no, yeah, she's like told me straight up, like
Endless
Hey,
breadsticks and
Say hello.
salad
Oh
for
no,
life.
you can't say hello to nobody. Never mind, you don't exist. No, because this is a podcast, a wrestling related podcast, so you wouldn't know nothing about that.
I wouldn't.
Anyways,
Fun stuff.
so yeah, any questions? Anything you would like? Just hit me with it. I'll try to be responsive. I'm also
Yeah.
trying to work, unfortunately.
All right. Well,
All
if you're
right.
gonna go, you can
No.
go. We don't-
No,
Dude.
don't leave me.
Oh
Would
no,
you-
we won't leave you. I'm just wondering. We don't want you to feel like we're like.
You
Stop
can always
your job.
come back because, dude, you're cool as fuck right now.
Well, yeah, check this out. I would be down to come down back anytime. This is probably the easiest Friday. If we ever did it, we'll shift the days. But I'm not going anywhere because technically I'm working security right now. I'm like the worst security guard in the history of ever. But if someone does run away, I'll definitely put some moves on them for you. Whatever you need me to do.
All right, so I guess we'll let you go then. All right, but if anyone has,
Okay, well you can because it's already been 59 minutes, but you don't have to. I'm just
All right.
saying.
We just feel
My
bad.
bad.
We like, you're
we
working.
don't want to bother you when you're working, dude. All right?
No, check it out. So if I have to put anyone over, I have to put over California unemployment because I was employed before the pandemic and I was making a fairly good amount and rate. And since the pandemic, the unemployment's the only way I'd be able to pay for training or anything. So these are little gigs that I do mainly just to be there for the facility because the facility is a wrestling facility.
can Olive Garden be our sponsor? And I'm like, I think Geek, I think Geek ruined it for everybody. I'm sorry. All right.
Oh
For
no.
Hina,
Well, I
for
hear
Hina.
Subway's looking for a mascot, right?
There we go. Dude's at ringside eating Subway sandwiches, and I'm gagging as I'm eating every bit of it. This sandwich is so good, right?
So I have a
When I-
question for you guys, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience getting into the podcast world, because I've always enjoyed wrestling myself, and I've been told time and time again, "Oh, you should do a podcast." I just don't think my opinions are. Who cares?
Dude,
Like-
you'd be perfect for a podcast because you're freaking awesome, by the way.
Like, me and Geek started this off
Well, I'm
just
here now.
just hanging out and doing college radio together, like in the college we went to, and then we just started talking. He would call me on the phone all the fucking time, and we would talking during Raws or SmackDowns, and then we decided like he would be like Elsa from fucking Frozen. Do you wanna build it? Do you wanna start a podcast? And I'm like, no, stop it. And I was just total heel on him. I'm like, no, Geek, I don't want to do a podcast.
It finally took him a while, but
I'm like,
he finally came
he
to
doesn't get this. I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. There's two podcasts that are like the kings of the Ghostbuster podcast world. I'm putting them over now. I don't care. I would love for them to come on our podcast. Yes, have some podcasts. Those are the total beasts. They talk about Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, Jurassic Park, everything, and wrestling. And also the Cross Rip, other podcasts. It's really beast mode in the Ghostbusters world. And they have so much fun. They laugh, they joke, they make fun of each other. They're so awesome. And I was like, these people have so much fun doing this podcast. And I went, hold on. Geek? Yeah. I'm on the podcast. I thought he was going to do the Carlton scream on the other side of the phone. I could see him going, "Yay, Joe, what's in the podcast now?" We did this podcast, and then
we started talking about Raws and SmackDowns, and then what happened was we're like, this is kind of, like me and him were being negative about Raws and SmackDowns because they've been so bad, and we were saying, that Joe said, it's like, all right, we'll get a guest on the show, then we'll go back to Raws and SmackDowns. After that, we never went back to. I mean, we had some Raws and SmackDowns, but we always got a guest on our show because we don't want to talk negative anymore, and we turned the negative into a positive.
And then our name went from different things. It was like we morphed from like it's horrible. We went from I thought by the name Ring Rats. I thought because we're by the ringside. We're obsessed like a rat, obsessed with cheese. Then I go on Google and I find out what the ring rat is.
Did you not know what a ring rat was?
I didn't.
Oh,
I went out, I look like Stewie rocking back and forth in the corner. I was like, oh my God. Tell my artist, don't draw that. Don't draw that.
Oh.
Don't draw that.
Oh, I think I saw like you used a rat one time in your cartoons, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, I've been a ring rat once for long before I started wrestling. Maybe that tells you a little bit about me, but I think that term is used in other. I know groupies one, but I've heard it like for other things. I can't really think of it right now. Yeah, whatever. Hood rat. Excuse me. There's that. So I mean, I think it's an amalgamation. Whatever. I'm gonna get us banned or something.
No, it's okay. Me and Joe will get banned from Twitch, and then we'll have to start all over again. We'll have to call it Dudes at Ringside 2 podcast.
Yeah. Like
or something. It's kind of like how
the wrestling world, and then that was taken. We were before that we were supposed to be the wrestling machine or the wrestling was it wrestling machine?
Wrestling time machine.
Wrestling time machine.
That's cool, but you got to travel back. You got to talk to historical, or maybe talk to guys past, future, present type deal.
Yeah. Well, I'm Mr. Old School on the podcast. I like the old school stuff. He's the more new school, and we blend it. Like who would have fit more like back in the day? I feel back in the day, Seth Rollins probably would have went over pretty well. most people don't believe me, but I think he would have went over pretty good in the Attitude Era. His the way he does his moves, the way he makes the crowd pop. I could see him.
I think Moxley would have been over in the Attitude Era.
I think you're both right, but you're all both possibly wrong since that particular era was so heavily focused on visual presentation. Yeah, Hogan was larger than life and he was huge. However, it was more character driven then. In the late 90s, everybody was doing a lot of the same stuff. It was all about who's kind of the biggest and the baddest, at least, persona. So they're great, but they're probably better. And Moxley, I would say, lately has been diving deep into his character work. So it's hard to say.
Mhm.
It's really that's a tough one.
Yeah. And then my dad's like, "You guys get a name yet?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're on this version." And my dad looked at me. We were downstairs doing my workout, and he goes, "What about Ringside Dudes?" And I called Lance Mr. Geeky immediately. I was like, "What do you think?" I put it on speakerphone. I'm like, "Dad, tell him." He's like, "Oh yeah, Ringside Dudes." And Geek went. He got quiet. I could see the face that would flip it. Dudes at ringside.
It's
And
there.
they're
I mean, it's in my head now. Obviously, I've said it a few times, but yeah, I can't imagine it any other way.
Uh-huh.
yeah, man.
Mhm.
We're like, what number episode is it? I guess this kind of 52 episode, right? Keith?
52.
You should have brought me on 69. Don't you know anything?
Oh, we'll do that.
We don't plan it that way though. It's
I'll be
like
back. Yeah, exactly.
you know what? How it works? How it works is okay. Calendar, and then Joe looks at the date. And it's like, oh, we don't plan it that way. It's like because he's looking at the date, and it's like we don't know what number is the next one.
Because I would just mark the people randomly. Now, I got this beautiful little 1980s looking calendar that I got from my day program. They gave us a day calendar just, to give us a calendar. It became the Dudes at Ringside podcast calendar till 2022. But this is the calendar.
We're not booking anyone until 2022 unless they cancel.
Yeah.
Not they cancel on us.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why it's good you are so booked. It's better to have an abundance than what would you guys do? Have you ever had a day where you had no guests yet?
And in the beginning, we have.
Oh, well,
yeah,
of course.
It's all booked. Actually, it's funny, Rosecrown. We're actually doing 2 people's birthday parties on the podcast.
Huh? How does that work? I know you did Metal Geeks, but you mean your guests?
Yeah, guests is having the birthday party.
Yeah, we're doing Gypsy Mac.
Who? I know who she is. She's awesome. I just hanging out with her the other day. No,
Dude,
that's not
tell her. Hey, you came on? Did you tell her you came on Dudes at Ringside?
Say it again.
You should tell her. If you text her later, hey, I hung out with Joe the Panther and Metal Geek on the podcast.
So wait, how well do you think I know her? I could text her like, dang, hey, tell her to call me. Tell her to call me first. How about that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking like a lot of wrestlers know each other. That's why I'm like, they tour.
Oh, I know her, but see, especially with the speaking out movement and stuff, and being a guy like myself, maybe isn't the most charismatic with the ladies. I don't know, even especially if a girl is looking pretty good, because they all look pretty good to an extent, right? Like how am I supposed to get someone's number? It's like everything's Instagram for me. Like if you want to reach me, hit me on Instagram. Facebook's a little bit like I don't even use it, and when someone gets at me that way, unless I already knew them or know them or whatever, it just seems weird these days. Like everything's Instagram for me.
Everything for us is Instagram. We don't even have any wrestlers' phone numbers.
Except we have. Don't say that, Geeky. We do have charismas, and it's sort of fun.
I'll give you my number. Jeez, you guys are smooth.
We can give them to us after the show, though.
My number is 8675309.
Oh, we lost him. He hung up on us.
All right, I guess that's it, Joe. Right?
Is he still there?
I don't know. He kind of froze.
In the memory of Memorial. Oh no!
Unless he comes back, but all right. You want to just end it there? I guess.
I think he was
going to go anyway, but
Yeah, he was touching the beating Bookie.
No, that was me. That was me. He's still there, and if he comes back, Anyway, thanks to everyone. Thanks Hellman Rosecrown for joining us. Remember, you could always donate to us at http://streamlabs.com/dudes@ringside. http://dudes@ringside. And he left. And take it away, Joe.
And I would like to thank Mr. Hellman Rosecrown for coming in and giving us the truth facts as always. And thanks, Mr. Connor, as always, for keeping us on task. And thank you to my grandfather, Jose Quinones. Thank you for my cousin, Pete Sanchez. And thank you for my uncle's godfather, Frank Martinez, the Blue Demon, for lighting the way for all Latino wrestlers. See you guys Monday.